Okay, so hello and good afternoon, everyone. We'll start. I think people are starting to join. So let everyone know that session has started. So what I will do is you can stay and we will continue. I will also record the session and provide the recording video, right? So let's start for today's session. Okay, so good afternoon. We'll start for today. So last time what we saw was let me see. Mm, Last time we connected our main application with the backend, right? And what we did was we were able to fetch the data from backend onto the front end using the Django templates and using models as well as getting the models data into the view and then passing the that data to the template. So we were able to render the a food application or like the food items onto the front end. So today what we'll be doing is we will be looking at the another way to create the application, right? So what we have been doing right now is that we use the application like the command that was Django admin start project and then the name of the project, right? So what it did was it basically, so if I show you, yeah. So what it did was basically we first created the virtual environment. Let us say I created a virtual environment called as DENV, and then inside this I will have script. And then if I have what I have to do was I have to give the path of this file that is activate. So what it is was we activated the virtual environment, right? And then what we did was after creating the virtual environment, what we simply just said Django admin and then start project and then the name of project such as let us say food fast food, right? So what it will do is it will basically create another folder names as for fast food, and then it will have this files that is init.py asgi settings url and wsgi.py, right? And then what we did was if we needed to create another application, we simply had to say was Python manage.py start application and then the name of application that will create, let us say I am creating the application name food. So it will create this file where I will have this folder that is init admin apps model test URL and views, right? We created the views manually and we also created template and static manually, and then inside template and static we had to create a folder with the same name as the application. So this is what we had been doing, right? And inside this we also have like manage.py and db sqlite. If after we have like perform make migration or migrate, we will get the db sqlite. And manage.py is like main our management file which is used to create new application or run server, right? So we have been doing this, and but there is another way to create the Django application, and we will be following that way also so that you guys can see the I can say like how Django is really good and how Django can be really be what I can say uh, uh, framework that you can make it your own. So you can just create however you want as long as like you know what to change in the settings.py file as well as like how to change the configuration of Django. You can make Django your own, right? You don't really have to follow the things that we are following strictly, right? Creating template and then creating a folder with the same name as the application and then storing our file, right? So these things can be changed. The template directory can be changed. Let us say you don't want to have an app specific template, right? You want a project specific template, or let us say even if you want to have app specific template, you don't really want to be bound to a specific app directory, right? So you can do those things also. So today we'll be creating our project. We will be connecting it with the models because last time there was some internal difficulty from my side. So I think some people missed that. So we'll be doing that. And then I will show you like how to directly add the MySQL database. We have seen this in previous session, but we will again add it. And then we will be able to fetch the data from backend to frontend. And then what we'll be doing is we will be showing whatever information we are getting. Let us say we are ordering some food item, right? So that information that we are trying to pass through the front end, how we can get that information on the back end. So that will be the agenda for today. And for tomorrow, we will be creating admin dashboard where we'll be getting the data, order data that we are going to send to the server today. And then what we will do is we will also be implementing the user registration and login functionalities tomorrow, right? And then so basically the plan will be that today we'll be looking at API and introduction and the integration. Tomorrow, what we'll be doing is that tomorrow we will be covering the security part instead of deployment part that we had discussed, right? Because adding users and something is like what you might want to do before you deploy the application, right? First, you want to check those things on your local host and then only you want to deploy it. So we will be covering the security part tomorrow. And then on the deployment part, we'll be learning what is AWS, what is the basic hostings and everything. And we'll be hosting our website that we had created. And then on the last day, we will be creating a simple PHP project that most of you can like create it along with me while I'm coding. So we'll be doing that. So let's start by today and create the project. Okay, so I have created a folder named food order app, right? So what I will be doing is I will open it using VS Code. Just loading, let it load. In this session, we will be only focusing on the main application, right? And also on tomorrow's session, like half of the session will be focusing on the application. So if anyone is following like today's video and tomorrow's video, they will be able to create the application and also learn the basics of Django. I will be covering both of them because let us say a lot of people are going to watch the video while they are creating the project, right? For themselves. So that is that will be the agenda of today, where we'll be trying to like make the application from scratch so that even if they have not looked at the previous videos or previous session where we have talked about the fundamental of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, they can start from here also. I will try to explain everything step by step so that you guys can create your project on your own. Okay, so this is our project. We already know this, right? So next will be we'll go to terminal. Okay, so in the terminal, what I will do is I will show you. So when first I will like create a virtual environment, right? So remember to create in the basics section, when we were talking about the basics of Django and everything, I have taught you that virtual environment, how it can be created. First, we have to say pip install virtual env, right? But I have already installed it. But if it is not installed on your system, just say pip install virtual environment. If it install the virtual environment, let's say I will do it so that I can update the virtual environment that is already installed. And it says that the version of pip is available, but I will not be installing or updating the pip. But I can already see that virtual env is already satisfied and it is on the what I can say latest version. So next thing that I will do is I will say virtual env and then the name of virtual environment. So let us say I want to call my virtual environment project. So virtual env project will create a new virtual environment with the name project. So you can see now in this application that is food order app, I have a folder name as project, right? So this will be my virtual env. If I open it, you can see I have scripts and then I have the activate, right? So what I need to do is I will say dot say root and then I will say the name of the virtual environment. So project and then say scripts, right? And then I will say activate. Now, if let us say you are using the command prompt instead of like PowerShell. So this is PowerShell you can see, but you might also be using command prompt. So what you can do is you can say activate.bat, but because I'm using PowerShell, I will say TS1, right? Or if you don't know, what you can try is you can just write activate and then press enter. And after you got get like this round bracket and project, that means your environment is activated. Right. So I think this is really easy and or like you already know this how to do it. So this was just a refresher. Now what I forgot to cover was, so let us say I want to deactivate this virtual environment. So all I need to do is I need to say deactivate. Then it will be deactivated. And if I want to activate again, then I just have to run this again, right? So now my environment is activated. So this was the basics about virtual environment. So all of you should know this, like how to activate a virtual environment and how to deactivate a virtual environment. But let us say you are using Linux, okay? Because when we'll be deploying our application on the server, there are chances that our server will be a Linux server, right? And let us say you want to make some changes or something, then you might be using the Linux console. So if you want to activate it on the Linux, what you have to do is you have to say source, right? And then you have to give the path of your activate, right? So whatever the path will be, and it will be like activate. And then if you press enter, your virtual environment will be activated on Linux. And if you again say deactivate, it will be deactivated, right? So remember these things, they are really important when we'll be working with like deployment. We will be using these things. Second is that we would like to install the Django. So click install Django. So again, we have already done this. So what it will do is it will install the Django on our like virtual environment, right? And we have seen that the let us say without virtual environment, it will have some default packages pre-installed. And in the virtual environment, it will have slightly less packages pre-installed. So that is why we need to install it. So let it install first of all. So I think this will be a good refresher for most of you who have like missed some sessions. Okay, let it run for a second. Might take time based on the speed of your system. Okay, so we saw that we got the Django. We can confirm it by saying it list. Okay, it will list down all the packages that are installed in the current environment, right? So we can see that we have like this folders. We install the Django, and if I like, let us say CMD. Okay, so in the command prompt, you can see I have my user and the username. I don't have any virtual environment activated. So if I say click list, then see what packages will get. You see, we don't have Django, right? But we have virtual environment because we have installed it by like ourselves, right? So this is the like difference between your main environment and your virtual environment. So if I say like pip install Django, then that Django will be installed in the main, like, the system environment that is created by your Python installation. So keep this in mind that every time you are like installing Django or something, you are always on your virtual environment so that you can work with like different versions of each package, right? So you can also say like pip and say install, let us say Django, and then if I say equal or I don't remember the syntax, but I think it was Django equal to and then 3.2 that will install specifically Django 3.2, right? Currently, the version of Django is 4.2 that is installed by default every time we run like pip install Django. By default, it will install the latest version. Now, we know that if I want to create a Django project, what I have to do is so Django admin, and then I will say start project, and then I will give the name of project. Let us say food order project. If I enter, then what it will do is it will create a folder named food order project. inside that folder, it will create another folder named food order project. We know this, but if I say dot space and then dot, that means the main app that the project will create, I want it into the same directory. That is the root directory. Instead of creating a new directory, I want to create it in the root directory. So if I press enter, then see what happens. See, I have food order project folder, and if I expand it, I have init argi, setting URL and WSGI, right? But where is my manage.py? It is in the root folder, right? So it is on the same level as my environment. So now I don't have to say like cd food or like food order project. By default, what I will be doing is I will be going into like I will say change directory food order project, and then from then onward I will have access to the manage.py. But I don't have to do that because the manage.py is accessible from the root directory also. And if I say like ls, then it will list down. So you can see I have main directory, and then I have the environment, and then I have manage.py. Okay, so let's continue. So from here onwards, we can see the differences that we have. So instead of like two directories with the same name, we only have one directory. Now, if I create a new application, what it will do is, all I have to do is like Python manage.py start app, and then the name of app. So by name of the app, I will create two applications, two different applications, so that you guys can know like how to work with two different applications. And we will also see other things that are new to this video only. Then you will see that Django is actually really flexible. You don't have to like follow the same thing every time. You can change it according to your will. So I will say Python manage.py start app, and then the name of application. Let us say I want to create an application specifically for listing food on, let us say, index page. So that will be food order, right? If I press enter, it will give me a new folder with food order home. So now I have food order home and food order project. So food order project is created by start project command. So it has given me all the configuration file of Django, and food order home is the application file where I have init admin app.py models test and view, right? So by default, what we will be doing is like what we would have done if we had followed the actual thing. We have to create a URLs.py, right? You know these things that in every application we have to create URLs.py, and then we have to use include to link that URLs.py into the project URLs.py, right? So we will not be creating the URLs.py into the application. We'll be seeing how we can directly add routing it like on the project URL.py. That is also possible. We will be seeing that. So for now, as I said that food order home, we have one application. I will create another application to handle the orders specifically. So when the user will go on order, let us say I'm adding a particular, what I can say, item to the order page, right? In my cart. So what I will do is, so when I have created the cart, I will go on order page and then I will check out, right? So I will buy that application. So we'll see how we can do that. But to handle that, I will specifically create another application which will be only handling the orders, so that let us say there is some issue with my orders. So and my order is not working. Even though my order is not working, I will be somehow able to get users onto the main home page, because the home page is different app, and if I don't change like anything, it will work as like we are expecting it to work. So what like changing the files from orders app will not have any impact on the main home application. So I will create it. So let me just call it food orders, right? So just this. So now I have two applications, that is food orders also, and again I get init admin app models test and view. So next thing that I want to do is very important thing is to whatever apps that I'm creating, I want to register them into the installed apps section in the main settings, right? So I will go to orders project and then settings.py. in here, what I will do is in the installed app. Now remember, we whenever we get an error in Django, we used to get like what that error is, right? So that is because we have debug equal to true as an active. If I say debug equal to false, we will not get any kind of error messages, right? And this is what we want to do when we will be deploying the application. And also when we are deploying the application, we have to like install the host into the allowed host. We will see what this is when we will be working with the deployment section. For now, what I will do is I will just register the application. So let me say food, right? And if I just I have an extension that will allow me to auto complete. So what I will do is if I just press tab, it will auto complete, right? So the name of that extension is IntelliSense. And I'm also using GitHub Copilot for my Visual Studio Code that also provides me with the auto completes, right? And we'll be seeing how that works, because when you'll be working as a developer, it is a good thing to use this kind of tools to like make your overall development process really fast. So as I said, if once I register a application, at the end, I have to add comma, and I have to do the same thing for other application also. So I will say tool orders, and then I will say comma. So now both of my application are registered. So next thing that I want to do is, after I have registered the application, I want to create the template and static directory, right? So previously, what we had was we had to create template and static in each application, right? So I have like food order home. What I will be doing is I will go here and then I will create new folder named templates and static. And I don't have to change any kind of setting in the settings.py. Remember, it will automatically detect those, right? So, but what I will do is, instead of creating each template and let us say static directory in the particular application, I will create single template and static directory in my project, so that all the apps are using that only, right? So all of the application will be referring to that particular template and static, instead of having a particular template and static in each application. But because like how Django works, we can inside the the main project template and static directory, we can create another directory with the same name as application and link it, right? We'll be seeing how we can do that. So let's see onto the root. What I will do is I will click here, right? And then I will create a new folder named as templates. I got a folder named as template. Then I will create another folder named as static, right? So now I have static and template, but it will not work how it usually works. What we have to do is, so basically, yeah. So in settings.py, I need to register the template and static in here, right? What I need to register is that instead of app specific, I want Django to, what I can say is that, check for the template and static directory into the root directory instead of application directory. So basically, we have to find like where we can change it. So first is, yeah. So I have like the static URL, right? So what and again, let's see. I have another. I have like templates. Okay, so I have one list of template, and then I have another as static URL, right? But there is nothing called as static directories, right? So we'll be creating that. So first thing that I want to change is in the templates, what I will be doing is I will say backend Django template, backend Django template. So this is by default. We will keep it how it is. And see this part that it says app did underscore did, and then it says true. So it is saying that app directory is true, right? So what it is saying that in every application, if there is a folder name as template, check if there is any file that can be random. Okay, we will be keeping it is like we will keep this as true. Why? Because let us say we have admin panel, right? And we saw that for admin panel, if I say like python manage.py create super user, it will create a super user. In the previous video, we have seen that how Python admin panel works. So what we'll be doing is, if I have like this as false, the admin panel will not work, right? Because in admin there is a template of like admin and whatever is the let us say login and registration for admin. It is in the app directly, specifically in the in the Django. So make sure that you are keeping it as true. So how we can let the Django know that it needs to check for template in the root directory. I will say this, and then I will say colon. And in the colon, you will see I'm getting some autocomplete. We will ignore it. What we need is os dot path, and then I will have like join, and then I will say base directory, right? So base div will be the base directory, and then I will say colon name of the template directory I have created. I have created a template directory with the same name as template, so I will say templates, right? And then comma, right? So okay. So what we have is directories. I am saying there's os.path join base directory with the name templates, right? But it you will see that there is an error of OS because it says OS is not defined. Null, and then it says like OS unused, right? So it can be resolved. You see that there is already a path for base directory, right? We have returned base directory. So what it is doing is it is saying the path file and then result, it says parent dot parent. So it is checking that in the parent directory, like whatever file with the name template is there, check if there are any templates. Second, what we have to do is I have to import OS, right? After I have import OS, what happened is that I will no longer have that error on OS. So I have template, and then you can see the color of OS has changed. If I zoom in, now you can see color of OS has changed. Like there is no longer an error. Second thing is that I have resolved the template issue that I want to check for template in my main root directory. Second thing I will do is in the static, you see that I have the static and then I have the slash, right? So what it says is inside the app directory, check for the file name static, and then in the static, like slash, and then the Django default says that you need to create another folder with the same name as application, and then you can place file. But what I will say is instead of here, check for static in root, right? The moment I press slash, it will giving me an option. I will select the name of file, and then I will delete the existing that one. And then like I have created the static folder with the same name as static, right? So I don't really have to change anything, but I have done it anyway. And then I will keep it as it is. Then what I will say is I will say that static files directories equal to, right? I will create another list where I will say os.path dot join, and then I will say in the base directory, I want you to resolve some of folder name as static, right? So this is what we had to register the static and templates that we have created in the parent folder in Django setting to let them know that check for template and static file that I'll be using in the project in the root folder itself. I think this is done. Next thing that we can do is, yeah. So next thing is that now I want to create the view, and then we will run server and check if we are able to get the files that we want. Okay. So I will close the setting.py for now, and then I will say I will go in this food order home. I will go to views, and then in the views, what I will say is yeah. So we will say def home request. Okay. And then I will say return render. I will again say that request, and then what I can do is as I said yesterday also that in templates I can either say new file index.html, but what I will do is it is a good like idea to create a folder with the same name as application so that we can remember that this particular templates belong to this particular application, right? So that is what I will be doing, but it is not necessary for you to create the same directory name as application when you are creating the template in the root. So for now, I will say new folder, and then here I will give them same name as the like application, that is food order home, right? And I will again create another folder for the second application, that is food orders. Simple. So now I have a two folder with the same name as both of the application that I have created. In food order home, I will create a new file like index.html. Okay. And now I will say h1. This is index page. Now here I will register that. So again, what I have to do is I have to say like single column, and then I will give the name of the particular directory that I have created, that is food order home slash I will say index.html. Right. So we have created our view, and we have we are rendering a template. If I run server and go to the like specific view, let us say home, I will not be able to reach there because I have not linked a URL. So by default, what we would have done was we would have in the app, we would have created a new file named url.py, right? But we actually don't have to. What we can do is, so food order project that is generated by start project. I will go here. I already have a file called as url.py. What I will do is here, I will say from, let us say, food order home. I want to import view as like I will give it a name, right? So this particular view that belongs to food order home, that is my application number one. I will call it food order home underscore views, right? So every time I say food order home underscore view, I'm actually calling out the views inside this particular app. Okay, I can do the same for second one. So what I will do is I instead of home I will say orders, and here also instead of home I will say orders, right? So now what I can do is I will say path. Okay, I will first say like the base what URL we have. I will say food order home underscore views dot home. Right. So in the view, food order home view, see when we would have created the urls.py inside the app, what we had to do was we had to say from dot import view, right? So that views will be imported in that URL file, and then what will be saying that view dot name of the view. So current name of view is home. We only have one view created, right? So from the food order home view, I want to import home, and I want to give it a name of home, right? So what this will do is every time I want to call out the URL, I can simply say like URL. In Django template, we have seen in the basics last time when we were learning the basic that I just have to say curly bracket and then percentage symbol space URL space single quotes, and then I have to give the name of home, right? So we can do that. And so for now, let's just do it like this. So I have home. So now I should get the index HTML when I am running the like my application. So I will say run server. Okay, so I'm getting an issue name is like food order app. Okay, so when I'm getting issue. Is it here? Yeah, instead of food order home, I have written food order app. So I need to change it to home. Okay. Now it is running fine. It is saying that I have some migration that I have not applied, but we will not be applying the migration for now. We will apply the migration when we have the connected with the MySQL database. So I got the URL. So what I will do is I will just hover over it and I will say following. Then it will open my default web browser and it will open the local host which is running on the port 8000. Right. So remember, Django by default run on port 8000, but you can change the port in the like when you say Python manage.py run server. After run server, place the space, give the name your main local host, and then say like whatever port you want to run on it. But it is good idea to just run it on the 8000 port. So I have the index page. Next thing that I want to do is uh, first thing I will do is that instead of just having an index page, I will like use template inheritance to create a base HTML so that whatever pages I'm going to, I can use navigation bar or let us say Bootstrap on all the pages without importing the Bootstrap libraries every single time. So let me change the size of this one. So now just close for once. Yeah. So in templates, as I said, instead of creating the base directory into this folder, I will just create a base directory into the main project, which will be like helpful, like because I'm going to use this template project wise. So let us say we have base.html, right? So in the base.html, what I will do is I will open it this and say get bootstrap. And now I will just copy the basic template of Bootstrap, right? So in here, what we have is instead of title, I will name it title as like food, food order app, right? I will just name it. And in the H1, instead of saying any particular H1, what I will do is I will remove the H1 and say that instead of H1, use template inheritance. So let us say we have this, and then I will say uh, like block, right? So let me check the post one. Yeah, post block called block content. So block content, and then I will end the block. Yeah. So now I have ended the block. So now I can again use the same thing like block content. I will copy it and then I will go in this index HTML. Here I will say block content. Okay, but by default, what we have to do is we need to extend the base HTML, right? So what I will do is that here percentage sign extends extends, it has s and that, so extends, and then I need to give the URL, right? Currently I just have the base HTML inside my templates directory. I don't have any other directory like food order home or food orders. uh, I have index.html inside food order home, but my base HTML is inside template, so I can just say base.html, right? And in the block content, I would say h1. This is let us say base plus index HTML, right? And now, if I go to my browser and refresh, it will say this is base plus index.html, and you can see that the overall formatting has also changed. Why? Because we are using Bootstrap, and Bootstrap has its own formatting. And you can see we have the title. We don't have a fav icon, but I will add the fav icon for now so that you guys can know how to like work with static also. In the static, what I will do is instead of creating like an app folder, because I know I will be only needing some amount of folder only. So I will just say new folder and I will say image to save the fab icon. And then I will create another folder for JS to save the JavaScript file. We are using Bootstrap. We don't have to work with the style sheet for now. So I will not be creating the CSS directory. In the image, what I will do is I will copy like file, image that I already have. Image that I have used yesterday. Not this one. This one that we have been using. So I will save it here. And then what I will say is here, I will say load static to load the static file. Load static. And then I will say link, select tab icon. And here I just have to say like this and then static. And then I will give the like whatever the URL was that. So it was in the static. I don't have to type the static because Django will already know where that I am looking inside the static folder when I use the keyword static. I have a folder of image. I will say image and then I will say the name of my file. Let's see what it was. Yeah, so it was burger.png and type will be png. Instead of shortcut icon, I can just say icon that will also do. So if I check the browser, refresh it, you can see now I have this burger icon as a five icon, right? So this was connected. You can see that I can simply use the static to add it. So next thing that I will do is, right. So next thing that I want to do is, so in the base HTML, I will simply create a navigation bar, right? So let instead of like navigation bar, I can simply also use an a tag. So let us say so div. Okay, div is a block level element. That means it will take like entire space on the page, right? So whenever I have div, it will take entire space. So next thing I will say is that a tag, and then in href, what I will say is I will give URL. Right. So in the URL, I will simply give the name of app that I like name of view that I have created. So in urls.py, I had given a name of home, right? So I can just simply say home, and then I can say like home, simply, right? So next thing I can do is I can also give it a class, a bootstrap class. So bootstrap class, let us say h4, and I will say the main home that I want to do, I want to name it as primary. Okay, so if I go to my browser, if I press refresh, okay, so let me give it a title also. So let's see. Uh, let's see that block title. Okay. In here, I can just simply say that block title home. Right. So let's see. Let's go ahead. I have home, and here instead of block content, what I will do is I want it outside. And in here, what I can say is that class, I will say margin as two, and then I can say that padding was no, let us say two, and then I want a shadow. Presenter, I have a division tag where I have some margin as well as padding, and I have home. So if I press here, I am coming back to home. So next thing that I would like to do is, so I would like to create an order page. So here, and then I will say order, order. Because I have created a link, what I need to do is I also need to create like a view. So I will create the view in the food order. So view, and then I will say that def order, and then yeah, so return order, and then I can select food orders. Okay. So if I have done this, I what I need to do is in template in food orders, I will create another. So it will be order dot html, and in here what I can do is copy it and again paste it and change the title to order. Okay, and then I can say that h1 this is order page, and in index I can say h1 this is home page. By like, okay, so I have not given the URL food orders, and then I will say URL. So inside URL, for now I will just copy it and change it to like name will be order, and it will be order and then slash, and the view will be orders. Okay, and it will be orders. I refresh. Now this is home page, and if I go to order, this is order page. Right. So let me just make some changes to, let's say I will say that margin one for now. Yeah. So there I will also say order. So now I have home and order. Next thing that I want to do is I want to add some information in here. So really simple. We saw that last time also in the index. I just need to add a card. Okay, so card, and in the card, what I will do is so first I will create a container. Inside container, I will have a row, and then inside the row, uh, yeah, so before row, I will simply say h1. So that is this session, and we will also say like MP4 to have some margin. And then what I can do is so let's say I want a for loop to for each and every card, right? So when I will be getting the like whatever information I'm getting from the model, I can simply say for loop for food in foods. Okay, so the we saw in last lecture that foods will be the name of variable that will hold the information of food. So for now, let me just end for right. And now I can create a card. So I have the card in the image SRC. I will say like food, like the item I have single item in the for loop food image, and alt will be like let us say food item image, right? And then in the title I can say that I want the name of food. So basically food name. And in the p tag, what I will do is here also I will say food dot let's say whatever the price is. And in the button, I will say add to cart. Okay. So this will do for now. Next thing that I want to do is I want to create a model and connect the database. We have this information which just check. Yeah, so special, and I also have that because we don't have any information, we are not getting it for now. So let me close it for now. Okay. So next thing is that I want to create a database. So in project, I will go to setting, and then in setting, in the databases part. Yeah. So first thing I will do is I will open the XAMPP. So XAMPP admin, and then I will open the PHP admin. In the PHP admin, I will create a new database. I will call it food to know that this is for the food database. I will click on create. After the database is created with the name food, what I can do is, yeah, so let me copy the food database into format. So I will paste it. So now I have created a food. So I will change the name to food. My database is running. So and the username is root and like password is for nothing for now. So I will do this. So after adding this, what I can do is I can create a database, right? So in the food order home, in the models, what I will do is I will create a model for this one. So that will be class food, and then I can say that model start model, and then I can give a name like model start character field, and then I can say that price equal to model dot decimal field, and instead of 5, I will say 4, and then I can give it an image. And here I will say that model start URL field. Right. So this is the model that we have created. Now, if I run make migration and the migrate, it what I will do is it will like create a table inside my database with the name like let us say current project name is food order project, right? So it will create food order project underscore food. That is the name of class. So it is saying, do you want to install MySQL client? Yeah, and that is yes. So if I like okay, so like now I will install the MySQL file to install like use MySQL. Right. So after like installing MySQL client, now what I can do is I can use the MySQL, right? So I will say that Python manage.py make migrations, right? And second thing I will do is I will say migrate. Right. So I will migrate for now, and you can see it is giving me some error, but that is only for like this specific like let us say MariaDB that we are using in PHP we are getting by default as MariaDB. So I will say that here for now, and my database is like created and it is ready. So next thing that I want to do is I want to register this model in my admin panel, right? And before that, I want to create a new user also. So I will say that Python manage.py, then create super user, right? And super user, I will just give it a name of Yash, and then I will give it like some email. I'm just keeping it like this, but you can like give it a secure email if you want. I will clear it for now. And now you know that we have created a user. Next thing that I want to do is I want to register this model in the admin panel so that in admin panel, when we log in, we are able to see this model. So in admin.py, what I just had to do was basically first from for dot models import the name of my class that I have, right? And then I will register it. So it will be admin dot site dot register. Okay. So now it is ready. Okay. All I have to do is I have to run the server. So I'm running the server for now. If you see like I can go on home and order also. And then now what I will do is I will say like give the name of my URL. And then I will say admin. Now I will just enter the username and password that I have created using super user. Now I have this food item, right? So what I will do is I will say add, and in add I will say like first pasta, and then I will say like 299, and then I can say like in the unsplash I can grab an image. So let's see, copy image link, and then here save and add another. Yeah. So next image that I can add is, so let's say I'm adding this. I will say burger, and the price will be, let us say, 599. Image, save. Okay. So now I have two food objects. That is because we have created the class. It will create two objects for the food. And if I click on it, I can have like this information about it. So now I have, because I have two objects. So if I go here and I refresh it, okay. So in the model, I have food, right? So in the view, what I have to do is I have to get that information. So in view, yeah. So here, what I will do is I will get the like first of all I will import the model. So for model import food, and then I will say that foods equal to food dot object dot all. And then instead of creating a construct, what I can simply do is like give it a name of foods and then food, right? So now I have a model. I have added information inside that model. And after like adding the information inside the model, what I was able to do is I am passing the all the information, like all the objects that I have created inside the food table, right? So using the view, and I have like food, and inside that variable I am holding all the information of food, like let us say name, price, and image. And then in the index.py, I am just running a for loop where I have a food, like all the information is stored in the foods. I'm saying that for I, or let us say for food in foods, I want to show the food image, food name, food price, right? So it will show me two foods items for now because I had two items stored in the database. If I refresh it, now you are getting that I have two information. So what I will do for now is that So in the card, what I will say is that let us say margin 2, and then we want the padding to be let us say nothing, right? Because you can see that I have some padding, right? I don't want any padding, so I will do that. And also for image, I can say that we want the padding to be 0. And I want the styling, let us say style, I will say width, and I want width to be, let us say 250 pixel. And let us keep it 300 for now. And then I will say that, let us say height. I want height to be, let us say, what it can be like, let us say 250 pixel for now. Okay. So if I come here and refresh it, now you can see that I have some information. And second is that instead of 16, I will, let us say instead of 18 RAM, I will say the width should be 16 RAM. And I will just lower it to, let us say 250, right? And no, let's keep it 260. Okay. So, yeah, so now it looks good, and height is, let us say 200. Yeah. So now I think this looks good, right? And second thing I can do is, so in the row, I can say that I want padding to be 2. Right. So now I have this menu, I have this card information, and I have home, and I have order, right? So next thing that I want to do is I want to make a function where I can click on add to cart. It will like add some like my this information in order, right? I want to make it like that. And I also want that let's close it for now. So yeah. So just give me a second. Yeah, sorry about that. So what we have done by now is basically we created a project, and instead of like making a project, let us say a food order project, and then having another folder name as food order project, we have created our main project into the root directory itself. And also the static and template is in our root directory. We have seen how to change the like how to change the setting of Django so that it is using the root directory template instead of application directory template, right? So, and we also able to add the models. So this is also one of the way of creating the Django project. So next thing that we will be looking is that how to add the actual like the, let us say, orders into the order page, or let's say into the card. So first thing that I will be doing is, so let me see where do we go start. So we can do this. Okay, so we have registered it. I'm just checking the list of what I need to cover for today, and we were able to add that also. Okay. So second thing that I want to is, so in like template in the, let us say we are not using SQLite, but it will be like generating by default in the deleted later. But I will keep it for now because we'll be needing that when we'll be deploying it, because in the deployment part where we'll be deploying the application on the hero key, we will be using the SQLite because it is really flexible. So here what I can do is, so let's say I'm creating, let us say, a span, right? So span, and then I will say items in card. Okay, and then I will create another span. Here I will say, let us say 0. So what I want is every time I add an item into the card, this information should be changing, right? So we'll be using JavaScript to change this information. First, I will give it a class, right? So in the class, I can say that E4, and then I will change the color to, let us say, text secondary, right? And in here also, so let's say class, we will say h4, and then I will say that text, let us say dark, okay. And second is that I will give it an ID of card, so that I can, like, get this specific card itself. So I have given the ID of card to 0. And then now if I check my website, if I refresh it, now I have like items in card. And what I can do is I can say colon and then space. So now there is some spacing between them, right? And second thing we can also do is that we have home, order, and then this, right? So after, okay. So for now this is enough. So second thing that I will be doing is, so let's see. So in the index, what I want is I want a ID for like each name and let us say each price, so that whenever like we are getting that particular ID, right? So that we can add that name and price into the database itself. So what I can do is here I will add an ID, right? So and then I will say that I have, let us say, item, right? And then I will say that I have food dot ID, right? And here I will give it a name of item name, and then here I will say like item price. Okay. And then if I refresh, if I go to my developer information, what we can see that currently I don't have anything, but next time, let me just maybe local storage clear. We'll like clear the local storage, because we'll be using the local storage when we'll be saving the information, right? So this is something that will be handling on the client side. Okay, we will not be directly saving what the user is adding to the card. That will make like too much request to the server, and that is also really slow. So what ideally we'll be doing is in the application, like if you click on the arrow, you will see the option of application. You need to click on application. In the application, there is something called as local storage. Click on local storage, and here we will be saving all the information. So in the element, if I select this particular element, so you can see that I have H5 item name 1, right? That is the ID. And similarly, if I come here, then you can see I have item name 2 and item price as 2, right? So we have given it an ID. Next thing that we will be doing is that we will be creating a JavaScript, and then we will be initializing the local storage. And also in the button, what we need to do is we need to click and like create an on-click function. So on-click, we have seen in JavaScript that with on-click function, what I can do is I can click on a particular button and run a function. So I will say that add item, and then I can say like a bracket that that we need to create rounded bracket for a item, like function to initialize. Without the rounded bracket, it will only return the type of, like it will say that this is a function. It will not actually run. What I can do is I can again like use it. So let us say food.id. So it will have add item under the bracket. It will say 1. So add item 1. That is basically the ID of current food. So when I am on this card and I will click on add button, it will say add item 1. So it will be adding information of food item with like food item with ID 1. And if I click on this button, it will be like adding the information of food item with ID 2. Okay. So I think this much is fine for here. So next thing that I can do is uh, let me create an order page also. So in the order page, what I can do is let's see. Let's first create the JS file. That will be good, so that I can show you the working of local storage. So in static, I have JS, right? So in the JS, I will create a main.js. Okay. Now, main.js will be linked to the base.html, right? Because every time our user is coming, right, we want to initialize a local storage for that particular user. And we also want that once a local storage is initialized for a user, next time that user is again, like, coming to our website, new local storage should not be initialized. Okay. And whenever he's interacting with an item, I want to store that particular item into the local storage. The thing is that local storage, whenever, let us say I close the browser, right? Or let us say I close the website. Next time I come to that website, it will remember what items were in my cart. Okay. So next, and also whenever I refresh the page, it will again remember what information, let us say what items were in my cart, even if I refresh it. So that is why we'll be using the local storage. Many like companies use it, and we'll be seeing how it works. You can also use something called as session storage. We will be using such a session storage when we'll be working with the PHP. So for now, understand that we have items in cart, and then this information where I have given the ID of cart, and here I have given the ID of item name and item price. And then here I have, let us say, an on click function where it will get a particular ID of item, right? So in the main.js, what I want is, so first I will create an, let us say, variable of r. So what I want is, let us say if I add an item to, let us say, in local storage, I want it to expire in 24 hours, right? So let us say if an item is for more than 24 hours in a user's local storage, he probably don't want to buy it, or let us say he has accidentally, added it in the cart. So what we want is, we will be storing that particular item into the local storage for 24 hours. So I will say late. Now we know that in after 2015, it is preferable to use let, because in ES6, that is JavaScript version 2015, they have added let and const. So we'll be using let for this one, so that it is very usable in this current scope. And we say hours equal to 24, and let me just add the main.js first. Sorry, I'm having some internet issues. So, but don't worry. Even if I did get disconnect, I'm joining back. I am joining from the two different accounts. So what I can do is script. So script, not just script, but what I want is script SRC. Script SRC, right? So I can provide the source. So I will say, I can say static. Remember, we have said load static, so we don't have to say it again. Load static, and then the JS file, because in static I have a folder name as JS. Then I will say main.js, right? So I have linked the JS file. Now I will start coding it. Okay. So next thing I want to do is, so I will create a variable now which will hold the current timestamp. Okay, so I will say new. We saw that every time we call the now, it will have a new date time, right? So I will say date function that is inbuilt, and I will say that get time. So what it will do is, it will get a new date time stamp. It will be in a millisecond, right? So in JavaScript, what happens is, whenever we have like new date and then get time, it is in a millisecond form, right? So it is not in like hour, minute, or second. It is entirely in the millisecond. Okay, and that millisecond, if I'm not wrong, start from like 1970. So from 1970 to like this, it is something like that. You can read on your own like how this works, but know that this is in the millisecond, and we'll be like needing this information, because later on we'll be using converting our main hours to the millisecond also. I will say like let us say uh, step time, right? So step time is basically if user has already visited our website, we want in a local storage, we want to see if a step time is already there, like a millisecond time frame is already stored in the local storage, so that we know that user has already visited our website. I will say that local storage, get storage, and then get item, and then step time. But let us say I don't have a step time. What I can do is I can say if, and then I can say like step time equal to null. And here what I can do is like local storage, right? And then I can say like set item, and then I can say uh, okay, so it is auto completing because I have an extension of GitHub Copilot. Okay, I can close it, but it is really probably really fast. So what I'm doing is if there is no step time, let us say step time equal to null. That means user has not visited my website. What I want to do is in the local storage, I want to set an item of step time to now. Now is basically the current the time frame like in millisecond. But let us say else if there is already something like now minus, I will say like step time. Okay, so what happens is like now minus step time. So currently what the time is, and let us say current time is currently it is 3:18 p.m. and I had visited my website at 1 p.m. right? So it is saying that reduce the time, see if this time is like greater than 24 hours, right? So let us say if that particular time, so currently it is from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. is basically like 2 hours, right? But let us say I'm checking it tomorrow 3 p.m. So that will be more than 24 hours. So what I want to do is I want to like clear the local storage, as well as like I want to like set again set item step time to now, so that next time when I'm visiting the website, I will not have any order information in my local storage, and but the new local storage will be initialized with that current timestamp after 24 hours. That is what I'm doing. Next thing I can do is, so let us say I will create an orders variable. Inside the order, I will say that JSON dot I will parse, and then I will say that local. I will say local storage dot get item, and then I can say that orders. Okay. So here what I'm doing is I'm creating a new variable of orders where I'm parsing it as in JSON format. We have seen in JavaScript that JSON is like universal format for like exchanging data. Okay, sorry. So JSON is like a universal format for for exchanging data. So that is why we will be parsing it as a JSON. What we are parsing is that in the local storage, we will be getting all the items or like all the order items, right? So get item order. So all the orders that are stored in our local storage, we want to get it and store it in the orders. Next thing I want to do is I also want to get a total variable, right? So that we have orders and we have total bill amount. I will say that let total equal to, I will say that local storage, and then I will say that get item. And if I have like any total variable stored, okay. So that is what I want to do. But let us say if the, and what I want is if there is no order, if I go to my website and show you in application, here I don't have anything, right? So, but I have visited a website, right? What I want is I want to create an empty array of orders whenever a user visits the website. So what I can do is that if I will say that orders equal to null, right? Or if let us say there is some kind of error and let us say order is undefined. Order is undefined, right? So what in that scenario, what I want to do is I want to say local storage, and then I will say that set item, the variable orders, as JSON stringified as an empty array, right? So this box bracket, I don't have anything, so it will initialize an empty array. So if I save it and then go here, if I refresh it, now you can say I have something called a step time, right? Which is the millisecond time frame for my current variable, and I have orders with an empty array. So that is what we were able to do. And every time I come to a website after 24 hours, it will initiate a new orders array, empty array, and a new time like timestamp for step time, right? But if it is under 24 hours, every time I refresh, I come to the website, or let us say I close the browser, come back, it will be showing me the orders that I have already stored in my cart. So next thing that I want to do is, so let's see. But let us say there is already orders, right? So orders equal to JSON dot parse. But let us say we have initialized an empty array order, right? So on the next line, what we will be doing is we will be like, let us say there is some kind of order already available. So we want to, like, add that in the order variable. You want to update the order variable with that data every time, like I come to the website, if like order is null. And I can also do that for the total. So I will say that if total equal to null, and let us say if total is undefined. So here what I have done is that I will say that local storage dot set item total to 0. So that total is not undefined, right? So I have, like, let us say I have initialized the total, but I have not defined any value. Local storage get item total, it doesn't have any value for now. And we know that in JavaScript, if I don't give any value, it will be undefined by default. But I don't want that. What I want is in the users, like, the order here. So in the order page, what I want is I want to show 0 in the order. Okay, so we will solve it later. So for now, let's see. Okay. So we got the total, and now I want the cart, right? So I have this items in cart, I have this 0, right? So I want to target this. So what I will do is I will create a var, right? So that var is like global. What I can do is I can also use a let, but I saw that var is better. Next, like last time when I was trying it out, I will say that, like, no, sorry, not var. Actually, let is better. I want to say. So let card equal to document get element by ID card. So remember we have like, where was it? Yeah, so I have an ID of cart, right? So that is what I am targeting. Then I will say that cart dot inner HTML, right? So in the inner HTML, what I want is I want to store the length of order. So let us say currently I have 0 orders, so I want the card to show 0. But if there is 1 order, I want card to show 1. So what I will do is I will focus the order array. So orders, right? And then I will say length. In JavaScript session, we saw that we can get length of an array by saying array name dot length. It will give me length of an array. If I have 2 element in my array, it will give me 2. I have 1, it will give me 1. So this is enough for now. I will come here and I will refresh. So now I have like step time and I have order. Right. So next thing I want to do is I want to add items in my cart, right? So what I can do is in order.html, I need to make some changes. Okay. So first thing is that I have extend, I have block, and I also have like block content, but I will also say that load static. So that if I have any static file that I want to load, I can like basically load it without without worrying about the load static. So come here, and then I will say that container flow, right? And then I will say that for container flow, I want a margin of 3 on all sides. So it will create a container and give me margin of all 3 sides. So, and then next will be, if I say dot row, it will create a div with class row. Remember, we in the bootstrap we learn we need to have a container and then we need to have a row. Second thing, I will say that I want to use entire column, right? I will say the call MD12. It will like take entire 12 columns because we saw that in bootstrap it is divided into a 12 column and then we can justify our content based on each column that we have. Next thing is I will say H1 and I will say that your orders. I will make an horizontal row, right? Just so that it looks good. Here. So I have a horizontal row and I have your orders, right? Then I will say another, I will have another row and then I will say that call four, right? Column four and then so we have 12 column. Then I am saying I want a row. Inside that row, again, I want to have three different column. So call three and then I will roll it three times. Inside here, inside this column, I want to store all the name of items. So I will say that uh, item name, class with item name, and then I will say that I want another div with the item price. Okay, and then I want another column for the remove button. Like so that we, if let us say user don't want to have any item in the cart, then he can also remove it. So I have this three column. Each column will have item name, item price, and then item button, right? So we will be populating it using the JavaScript. But for now, next thing that I want to do is, so I will have another horizontal row and I want a message, right? So that in food application, you must have seen that you can give a message, right? So let us say you want let us say extra topping on your pizza, then you can say extra topping and then you can place the order. So we'll be having that also. So what I will be doing is, so let me check. Yeah. So I can have let's say div another div tag and then in the div tag what I will say is that div and then now I will give a label for let us say message and I will give it a class of h2, right? And then I will say your message. So I have this horizontal row number two, number one, and inside this I don't have anything right now. So that is why I'm getting nothing. But next is your message, and then what I will do is I will have a text area. Right, so in text area, I will give it a name because for I have given name. And then in ID, I will again give it a name of message. Here, I will let us say 80 columns. And for rows, I will say 4. So this looks good for now. Then I will create another div. And then in that div, what I will do is, yeah, so I'm getting some recommendation. So I will say, okay. Yeah. So I have ordered, but I also want another thing that is the span, right? So I will say span, and here I will say total, right? So let us say total, or I can also say that total bill, okay? And I can have another span, so span, and then I can say that 0.00 by default, right? So this looks good for now. And what I can do is I can give a class it's 4 for now. So this looks better. I will give margin top and then here I will say button small, margin sorry bottom. Right. So this looks good for now. Just give me a second. So this looks good for now. I can write my message. I can have list of order that I want here, and then I can click on order to place my order. But instead of blue color, what I will say is success. Let us say green color. Yeah. So I have changed the color. Okay, so this is, I think, good enough. Now what I want is I want to show the cart information. I want to add the cart information so that it is visible here. For that, I will create another JavaScript file. So in here, I will say that let us say order.js, so that in this file I can place the order, and I will also link this file here. Sorry, I will link this file in the index.html. Why? Because all the card is placed in the index.html. So when I click on the index.html, it should be placing the order, right? So I will say that uh, src. So here I will say static, and then I will give it the name of JS, and then I will say order.js, right? So, and we have not loaded the static here. So this is why I said always by default, just write the load static, because you are going to have some kind of static content anyways, right? So now in the order.js, what I will be doing is first, what was the name of my, so here I have add item, right? So I will create a function. So I will say function add item, right? And then I will say product item. So let us say PID. I can also say like item ID. So ID, that doesn't really look good. And I can also say like food ID, or let's say FID. But product ID looks good because we are talking about all the product in the cart. It doesn't matter what, like, the subcategory or category of food it is. I am just placing the order. So I will have a PID, and then I will say that item name and then ID. So I want the name ID of the item, right? So what I can do is here in order, let me see what was the name. Sorry, index. So in index, I have the name of item ID. Sorry, item name for the name, and for the price, I have item price. Correct. So I will say hashtag, that is an ID selector is hashtag, class selector is dot, like dot, right? Remember. So item name, and then I can say that plus PID. Okay. What it will do is it will say item name. Let us say PID is one, so it will say hashtag item name one, right? And we saw in DevTools that all of our item names are item number one, or like item name one, item number two. And for price, it is item price one, item price two. You can see that again. In here, if I just go to home, and then I will say that let us say pasta. Then you can see I have item name one and item price one. Similarly, for burger, I can have like item name two, item price two. That, so this is what I want to get, right? This is what I want to get. So I will be basically using inner HTML to get the inner content, right? So order from here. So first I have this, then I will also have like item price, right? So item price. So basically now I have item name and item price. Next thing that I want to is, so let's say let name equal to document dot, I'm getting this by default by using like my GitHub Copilot. There is get item name. So query selector is basically for selecting using the query selector, basically dot or hashtag item name or dot class name, right? Similarly, I can also get it for price, right? So this is the good thing about the, like, I can say GitHub Copilot, where it can, like, this kind of basic things that in we already have in our project, like main here. So it can, I can say, like, give you recommendation of the code, and it is true by most of the part. And if you have your college ID, you should register for it and use it, so that, like, it makes it your overall coding really fast. Just give me a second. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So next thing I want to do is I have name and price. So what I want to do is I want to store the order, right? So now, okay, let's see. Okay, so I have name and I have price. So we have to create a variable of order. So and then I will say that JSON dot parse, because I want to parse all the orders into the JSON, right? It is giving me like local storage dot get item orders. So orders is like basically this information. Okay, so I want to store. I want to parse it as a JSON and store it in the order. And then what I want is, let us say total, so total, and I want to get the total, right? So by default it will be zero, right? Okay. So by default, total and order will, there will be nothing, but we will be adding that, right? Be using like this, like selecting the element. So after we have got this, what I want is, so let us say order, and then I can say that order dot length of an order, and then I can say that I want name and price. So inside order, so let us say order of length by default will be zero, right? So zeroth order, I want to push name and price. For the next, I want like order dot length one. So for the first, I want name and price. I want to push the name and price only, right? So in the here inside order, I will have another box bracket where I will have the name and price for each order like I'm doing, right? And then what I want is I want to update it. So I will say that local storage set items. So set is for like setting the new order after pushing the order. So this will update the already existing order. And then I can also say that so total, and instead of pass in, I will say number. Okay. So this is why you should not like directly use GitHub Copilot. A lot of time you should know what you're doing. We know that number is the default data type in the JavaScript, right? So we are passing the total in number. So by default number might be like undefined, right? And then we what we are saying is that if the number total is undefined, I want to set the total as zero in like main.js. Remember here total, and then I'm saying that total set it to zero, right? So now what I'm doing is if it is already set it to zero, instead of string as zero, I want it as a number so that I can perform arithmetic operation. So total zero equal to zero plus whatever price is, let us say 299. So next time when I'm adding new let us say item, so it will again run from top to bottom, right? So it will be like 2.9 equal to 2.9 plus whatever the price of the new order is. So it will update the overall total also. I think this is really easy. A lot of you have already done this and like C and C++. So again, I want to like update the total in the local storage also. Next thing I want to do is I want in the cart itself, what I want is I want to update the number of item that I'm getting in here, item in cart. So I can do is right. So let us say get cart document by get element by ID cart, and then I can say cart inner HTML order length. So array length, so let us say 0, 1 or 2. I want it to visible here. Next thing I can do is I can say console.log, and then instead I can say like I want name, price, and then I want the total. I want to see like in the console every time I click on add to cart, right? So next thing is remaining is that. So let me see. Looks good for you. So in home, I can say so what I'm getting is that saying that order is not defined. Yeah, sorry. So it should be orders. Orders. And now if I refresh, I'm getting read in the browser. Okay, so here by default, okay, so think I need to clear the cache of browser. Now what I will do is yeah, so I'm not getting any error in this because the order.js was saved in the browser cache, right? So I probably close the browser, but I have the admin running, so I don't really want to close it. But here you can see I have this. So if I click on add to cart, right? See what are the changes. I have in the console, I have pasta 2.9 and I have total. If I click on again add to cart, I have burger 5.99 and I have the total value. Correct. In the item in cart, I have two, right? And if I go to arrow and if I go to application, if I go on local storage here, now you can see that I have in here, I have like step, let us say setup time. That is, I think by default, they have it. I have a step time that I have specified. I have orders variable where I have array number one is pasta and the price and then burger and the price. And I have a total variable which has like total, right? So these are the information that we were able to get. And now if I go on like orders, right now I want to populate that information in like your orders. So for that, what I will be doing is, yeah, so I can create another function, right? And in this function, what I will be doing is, so I have order.html, right? And I have like total bill message and I have item name, item price, and then I have remove button. So I will create another JavaScript file, which will be like, let's say checkout.js. So in this file, I will be showing all the information of local storage inside the order page, as well as I will be creating function to, let us say, save or make orders. So what the first thing is this, like let I need to save all the information that I'm getting from the document, right? So I want to store it in a variable. So I will say that in that document, and then I will clone it, let's say 4 times. I will say that price, okay, item price here. And next thing I can do is so remove button. I want, let us say there are 4 items in cart. So I want 4 remove button, right? Next thing I want is I want to create a variable for total bill. So here you have like total bill as 0, right? So what I want is I want a total bill here. So I will say that total bill, and then I will so here. Okay. So I have this information, and instead of like get element by ID, what I will be doing is I will be saying like query selector. Okay. And here I can say dot, and for total bill I will say hashtag, because total bill is like only one, right? So there will be only one element of total. But for like, let us say if I have n number of item in cart, then I will have n number of elements for each name and price. So that is why we are using class for this, and we are using item for bill. And here I need to give like ID of total bill, so that I can change the inner HTML. Refresh, and in the, let us say, checkout.js, I have created this, right? So what I will be doing is, so function, I will say that shopping cart. Okay, so here I will say that let orders equal to json.parse. We will be getting the orders that are stored in our local storage. Then I will say that I will get the total item that is total that is stored in our storage. Right. So I already have orders and total stored in my local storage, right? So I have total and order. So next thing I want to do, I have this information stored. So I want, let us say, currently you can see I have like two different orders, right? So I want a for loop. So for, again, I will say that let I initially will be 0, but what I want is I want to run this for loop until like I is let us say less than order length. Right. So let us say order length is 2. So I want to run it till like 2. So let us say order length is equal to 2. So I will be 0 and 1. So it will be running for 2 times. And then I will say I want to increase obviously increment I. So again, let's see what things we have made a mistake. So let I equal to 0 and I is less than order length or order length. So sorry about that. So next thing that I want is, so let us say item name inner HTML, right? And item price. So what I'm doing is, let us say I have order and I have order I. So I have orders array inside order array 1. So first element. So first will be 0, like so order 0, and I want the first element inside the first like array. So I have what so I have like see this, right? So it will be like let's say order 0. Inside order 0, the first element is pasta, second element is 2.99, and the order 1 is like order 1, and then the element 1 is burger, second is 5.99. So that is what I'm doing, and I'm saying that in the like item name and item price, I want the inner HTML equal to this. So the so here this information will be stored. Next I'm saying is that I want to create a remove button. So remove BTN, and then I will say that inner HTML, and I'm getting some autocomplete. Let's see what it is. So inner HTML, I want to create a button that is an HTML tag. So button with the class like BTN, and I will say that BTN SM for the small. And then I will say that on click, I want like a remove function, and I want to I, that is, let us say remove item 1. And then I want to, instead of remove, I will simply say like I want something like X, and then I will close the button. Next thing I will do is that in outside the for loop, because there is only one element of total bill, I will say that total bill inner HTML equal to total, but I will not be just having the total. I will say that parse float, and then I will say that total fixed total, right? And I will also have like this dollar symbol. So I'm saying that instead of like entire like all the decimals, so every time let us say I have 2.99 and then 1.99, if I add that, it will have some more decimal. Like that is just how programming languages work. They will have more number of decimal, but I only want to show two of them. And then what I will do is I will run this function shopping cart, so that I have all the information in the shopping cart. So if I do here, and then I have like let us say, yeah, so let's see what the issue is. In order for this, then okay. So we have to see what is value. See if I can change it from here. That will be like let us say document dot query selector. I will say that hashtag total bill inner HTML equal to let's say 1.99. Okay, so it is changing. So let's see what issue we are having. Okay. The issue is that we have not linked the script. So script src, and here I will say that It is in static JS checkout.js. Node static is already there. Now, if I do this, then you will see I have like burger, and then I have also have this like item, and I am getting the total, but I'm not getting all the item, right? So we'll see how to fix this. Okay, so let's see what the issue is. Okay, so in orders.html, I have item name, price, and remove button, and then I have the row. Let's see what is needed. So I don't think any changes need to be done there. So in the checkout.js, let's see. Yeah. So in checkout, what we want is I want to create a BR tag so that next element that is there, it will be appearing on the next line. Background is let's see. The best thing to know what the issue is to check here. So okay, so I'm only getting one item. So let's see. If I add more, will it change? No. So over here in console, I will say that for now local storage clear. Right. If I refresh. Okay, so there is some issue like cannot read the property of null reading length. So I'm only getting the first item in the list. Right, so that might be issue. There is bug in our program. Okay, so we have to find where the issue is. Again, it is like it is a time consuming task, right? So for now, what we can do is like it is already like 3:55. So I think we can conclude here for the day. Like when we click on add to cart, we are getting the element on the order page, right? But we are not getting the all the order. So tomorrow, what we'll be doing is that tomorrow we will try to get all the order in our page, as well as we will be trying to send that information to the server, and we will be also creating like we will be checking the security features. Let us say how to create a user, how to add an admin panel, right? We'll be seeing all of this thing. So for today, just to have a summary of what we were able to do. Sorry. So today what we did was, let me just close all of this. We will try to fix the issue by tomorrow. I will have to see what the issue is. I will let you know how the issue was solved. But because we are low on time for today, else we will be solving it right here. But I will clear it and we will exit this terminal for now. So remember, so from last time our project is changed, right? So the changes are like instead of having two folder with the same name as like food order project, I only have one folder as food order project. Here I have some file like init asgi setting URL and wsgi.py. And then in the order.home is my application. I don't have any URL file because I am getting handling the URL in the food order project that we get by default from the Django, right? So I'm not like including any of that. I'm just saying that like I'm importing food order home view as food order home underscore view, and then I'm giving the name of function and handling that, right? So this is the changes from last time. Instead of having multiple URL file, we only have one URL file, and instead of having like multiple template and static in each app directory, I'm having one template and one static directory in my root directory, and I don't have to create the folder with the same name as application. I can just handle it however I want. So these are the changes that we did today. Second thing we did was we used model to populate our overall the home page with the food items, and then we created a button where if we click on that button, it is populating the order page, as well as it is dynamically changing the item in cart section also. So tomorrow what we'll be doing is that we will be fixing the bug that we have where we are only getting one item, and we will be also sending the order information to the server, and we will be also adding let us say user, and we will be creating new user. We will be seeing how to create a new user, and we'll be also seeing how login works, how the logout works, and then we'll be completing our web application tomorrow. That is food order application. Tomorrow it will be completed. So as I said, you only have to watch this video and tomorrow's video to know how the application was built. You will be able to follow this video and build the application. But if you are having difficulty understanding something, you have to watch the other training session that we have done. There I have gone ahead and explained you the basics. So if you have know the basic, you will be able to complete this project really easily. So today, go ahead, watch the training video. Tomorrow we'll be completing this training the project, and then day after tomorrow we'll be deploying our application, and I will be also teaching you about different kind of deployment you should know as a web developer. On the last day we will be creating a PHP project. So thank you for joining for now. So all the people who have joined, I can see that 4 or 5 people have joined. So and other people are basically going to watch the video. So I hope that they are going to follow and create the project also. So tomorrow join again, we will be completing this project. This is a really important project because after your internship has done, you might have to create this project to get your completion letter. Or let us say to if you want to say that you have made any project, you might have to recreate the project. So it is good idea to watch these videos, or let us say join the training session to understand how the project is being done, so that you can complete your entire session and entire training session and get the certificate. So thank you for joining. We'll be continuing tomorrow.